This ain't your ordinary football show. It's the Old Dominion Football Show with Bruce Rader and Coach Bobby Wilder.
It's playoff time for the Monarchs. 2 games shy of qualifying for a bowl game. Tomorrow's showdown at home against UTEP can help make or possibly break ODU's chance at postseason history. Last week's come-from-behind win in San Antonio was thrilling, but that's in the past. Coach Bobby Wilder is only interested in one thing: the future, the immediate future. Tomorrow at noon. What do the Monarchs have to do to keep their bold dream alive? Let's find out. The Old Dominion Football Show starts now. I'm Bruce Rader along with Coach Bobby Wilder. Coach, I know your only focus is on tomorrow's game, but last week's win down in San Antonio was so exciting. Can't we just take a moment and look back on that huge win?
Yeah, we can, Bruce. We're really proud of the players and the assistant coaches for the resiliency they showed in that game. It got off to such a poor start for us, Bruce. We're down 14-3 in the first quarter. Then the second and third quarter we dominated, played our best football of the year. We had a stretch where we outscored them 20-0 to take a 23-14 lead, and then like we do, we kind of let them back in it, but the way we won it at the end was exciting. And I mentioned this, Bruce, to our team. We played 13 games now in Conference USA over the course of this year and a half, and we're 6-7 in those 13 games. And Saturday's margin of victory was the largest margin of victory we've had in Conference USA with 5 points. The other 5 games have all been field goal games. So I point that out to say it's a real tribute to the players and how they're able to handle adversity in those critical situations at the end of games, because in those 6 we won, Bruce, 5 of them we trailed by 10 points or more at some point in the game like we did Saturday. So a real credit to the players for just handling adversity and playing the next play.
And showing progress. Now you've won 4 of your 9 games this season, 2 of your 3 conference games. Not a bad record for a bunch of kids that are the youngest team in the nation.
Yeah, and they're really growing up here, Bruce, through this stretch. And one of the things that has impressed me the most about this team, Bruce, is we are 4-5, which is it's not where we want to be. We want to be 9-0, but we're 4-5. That's who we are. The record says who we are. But an interesting thing that's happened this year, Bruce, is that the 4 games we've won, a lot of them, they've been like Saturday. They've been close. The 5 losses, we've lost by at least 20 points or more. And generally, when you get blown out, like we have in 5 games, your kids can lose faith in what you're doing and each other. And they haven't done that. They just keep hanging in there each week. So I'm very proud of them for that.
Well, it always starts with the quarterback. David Washington looked sharp last week,
Sure
especially during that fourth quarter drive. And he seems to be playing better every game.
He is, Bruce. He's played in 3 games now for us, and he's averaging 330 yards per game. He's passing for 290 per game. He's rushing for 40 yards a game, and that would put him, Bruce, right up in second place in the league in terms of quarterbacks and production. You know, the quarterback from Western Michigan, Brandon Dowd, he's the player of the year in the conference. He's at a whole different level. But David's right there behind him with the other good quarterbacks in the league, like Driscoll from La Tech and Stockstill from down at Middle Tennessee. He's playing at a really high level, and he's just going to get better, Bruce. He's still learning right now. This is still new to him in these games because his last quarterback play, as you know, was 2 years ago in mop-up duty, so he's making a lot of progress.
Now, you wouldn't have won last week's game if it wasn't for the defense protecting your end of the field during those 2 crucial stops.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, Bruce. That's a good point. After the touchdown drive that David hit Duhart for 40 yards to put us up 36-31. The rest of the game, the last 6 minutes of the game was played deep in our territory. The first stop our defense got, Bruce, with a couple minutes to go, we stopped them on the 4-yard line. The second stop with 20 seconds to go, they had 2 shots at the end zone from the 13-yard line, and our guys just found a way to get it done on defense, and that was so inspiring, Bruce, to all of us associated with Old Dominion football, because we just haven't seen that a lot at the end of games out of our defense. But you look back to last year, Bruce, the La Tech game at the end of the game, Florida International, Florida Atlantic, and now that game, we're getting some things to build on with our defense.
All right, now you face a UTEP team that has the same record as you have.
That's right.
They are also fighting to become bowl eligible. They also have a good quarterback quarterback, so this is going to be a challenge.
Yeah, and this is one of my favorite teams in the league, Bruce. I love their style. Sean Kugler, their head coach, is a good friend of mine, a longtime offensive lineman. He was the offensive line coach for Coach Tomlin with the Steelers before he got this job. And that's how they play. They play like an offensive lineman mentality, real physical up front, both sides of the ball. Quarterback, you mentioned, is playing really well. This guy got hurt early in the year, concussion, one of the worst I've ever seen on a hit. Comes back, and now they're playing good football. So I think this is going to be another one of those games, Bruce, where it's going to be decided in the fourth quarter.
But how big? I mean, would you say that this game is right up there with those NCAA playoff games, back in 2012?
I would, and that's a good analogy by you, Bruce, in terms of comparison, because for all intent and purposes, it's an elimination game, not unlike the playoffs we had in 2011 at home and 2012. The winner is going to have a great shot at postseason. The loser is almost eliminated. Whoever loses this game would have to win their last two games. So I'm sure they're looking at it that way. I know we are. We're looking at it. Our backs to the wall, a sense of urgency Saturday.
Still to come, it is time for another installment of the 1 Minute Drill. This week, it's big defensive tackle Rashad Coward from Brooklyn.
He's a character.
He joins Nathan Epstein next on the Old Dominion Football Show.
Welcome back to the Old Dominion Football Show for the 1 Minute Drill. Rashad Coward, the junior defensive tackle. Who's the movie star that would play you in a movie?
Shaquille O'Neal.
Is that really an actor?
Yeah. You ever watch Shazam?
What's the best prank you've ever pulled on a teammate?
One of my teammates, Manny, tricked him about we had a meeting in the morning, and he got up running over, and we came back and got him.
So he woke up and...
Bring it over there like it was nothing.
What is your go-to meal?
Ooh. Hot wings.
Your go-to pregame meal?
Ooh. Chicken and noodles.
The biggest moment in sports you can remember watching as a kid?
The Super Bowl when the Giants beat the Patriots when they were undefeated. The big upset, and I was going for New York Giants.
And you're a big Giants fan, huh?
No.
What's your favorite NFL team?
Philadelphia Eagles.
You're from Brooklyn, New York, and you're a Philadelphia Eagles fan.
All right.
Most embarrassing moment you've had on the field as a Monarch?
We had a screenplay, and my freshman year, Antonio Vaughn cut back and then juked me literally out my cleats.
Literally, so your shoe came off?
Yeah.
Everybody gave you kind of some business about that?
Still to this day.
What's the best thing about being a Monarch?
The atmosphere and the school spirit. I've never been a part of nothing like that. And just coming out the tunnel. Just adrenaline rush.
Junior defensive tackle, the big Rashad Coward, joining us on the 1 Minute Drill. You passed it, man, so why don't you say goodbye to the Monarch Nation?
Goodbye, Monarch Nation.
Ain't no more to it.
Time now for the Coach's Corner. This week's question, Coach, comes to us from Tobias in Chesapeake. He wants to know, do you think that Taylor Heineke is in a position to win the second string job with the Vikings next year? I mean, after all, Sean Hill will be 36 years old when the next NFL season starts.
I do, and that's a great question by Tobias, Bruce. I definitely think that when I talked to Scott Turner, who's Norv Turner's son, who coaches the quarterbacks, his thought was the reason they were bringing Taylor in is to groom him to become the backup because Sean Hill has been in the league for so long. And then Taylor had that incredible preseason. I mean, that was really big what he did in the preseason, even more so impressive to the Vikings, who weren't expecting that, Bruce. They weren't expecting 11-11 against Cowboys or 27-for-38 against Titans. He played so well. So I think he's got a definite shot to be the backup next year. Thanks for the question.
Do you ever talk to him?
I do, yeah. Yeah, we stay in touch once a week. He texted me after this past week's win. He watched the game from out in Minnesota. He's still a Monarch. He is still into it, Bruce.
He always will be. Wavy TV 10 and Fox 43 want you to take part in an incredible initiative keeping Hampton Roads families warm. Coats for Families is an annual effort to provide new or gently used coats to those in need from South Side to the Peninsula. It kicks off tomorrow at the game where you can drop off your coats at Kaufman Mall or at the entrance to SB Ballard Stadium. Coach, thanks for teaming up with us on that.
Yeah, well, Bruce, we're going to have a number of our players out there before the game. The kids who aren't dressing or playing in the game, they're going to be out there with their jerseys on to greet people that are bringing Coach, because of how important, you mentioned, they're so important to do this, and we're excited to be a part of it. Mrs. Broderick, Kate Broderick, John Broderick's wife, is heading this up, so we're heavily involved in this.
All right, in about 15 seconds, big news Wednesday. You've signed a home-and-home
fired
agreement
up.
to play East Carolina.
Fired up. I hope it's not just for these 2 years, Bruce. I'm hoping we can extend this like we did with Virginia Tech, because we want to play these regional games, Bruce.
All right, we'll have complete coverage of the game on the Weekend Sports Wrap, and join us every Friday night at 10:45 for the Old Dominion Football Show. Good luck, Coach.
Thank you, Bruce. Appreciate it.